Boomers are aging out, Gen Z is finally showing up, and millennials are taking over the wine aisle. Wine Enthusiast 2025 Top 100 list is here, and when a sommelier yells, "They're stealing the Romani Contis!" you know the night's about to get interesting. All that and more on this week's episode of This Week Uncorked. Well, hello and welcome to episode 76 of This Week Uncorked for Monday, December 29th, 2025. I'm Brett Martin from Cork and Journey. We are your number one source for corkage fees, winery reviews, wine reviews, restaurant reviews, regional wine guides, and oh so much more. You can check all that out over at corkandjourney.com. And with that, let's get right on into this week's wine news. Hey, and before we get going, a little shout out to Steve Mathiasen, 2022 Chenin Blanc. Fantastic. We got a lot of wine news to cover, so let's just do that right now. So, man, oh man, it's one of these stories every single week. Oh man, millennials aren't buying wine. Boomers are the only people that buy wine. It turns out that, I guess you got to get to a certain age before you really start buying wine. So Wine Business has a big article, Sarah Brown, reporting that maybe the wine industry is worrying about the wrong generation. Findings from the Wine Market Council's 2025 Benchmark Consumer Survey show that millennials, not boomers, now make up the largest share of wine drinkers, while Gen Z is rapidly increasing its participation as more of the cohort reaches legal drinking age. Well, it's usually helpful if you're going to drink wine. The data reveals a 9 million person decline in core and marginal wine drinkers since 2023. Not great. Driven largely by boomers aging out of the category. That's dying. That's what we're talking about there. Aging out of the category. Forcing the industry to rethink who it should be targeting and how. So anyway, from the article, fabric softeners, country clubs, bar soap, and breakfast cereals are just a few of the industries which older consumers claim millennials have killed over the years for their lack of interest. But one industry the age group cannot be held liable for assassinating: wine. According to new data in the Wine Market Council, the WMC 2025 Benchmark Consumer Survey, the cohort not only accounts for the largest share of wine consumers, dethroning baby boomers, but also upped their consumption compared to 2023 when the survey was last conducted. A 2025 survey samples nearly 5,000 U.S. adults over the age of 21, 34% of which identified as wine drinkers. Results were weighted according to U.S. Census data for region, income, gender, ethnicity, and education. It's not dead. The older you get, the more disposable income you get, the more you're dining out at nice restaurants, perhaps, those kind of things. Maybe you're going to start drinking wine. So we're seeing that trend. So good news. I guess good news, bad news, but I'm going to take the good news part of that. All right, and moving right along, fun lists. It's the year of lists. It's that time of year when lists just roll out all over the place. So let's talk about the Wine Enthusiast Best Wines of 2025 list. Every year, editors get together and they compile basically the 100 best wines of the year. And it's kind of cool because they go a lot of different countries. The prices are they can be all over the map, but you've got some reasonably priced wines in there as well. Anyway, I've got the top 10. We can kind of look at that a little bit, but going through it and looking at your number 3, Saxum. And you don't hear Saxum talked about a lot, but I went into the cellar to see what if I had this, because they've got the 2022 Heart of Stone Vineyard Red Blend. They gave it 98 points. I have the 21. The 21 here. Maybe that'll get me something. I don't know, but it's dying to try it now. It's been sitting in the cellar for quite a while. And then Passing Time, the 2022 Passing Time Red Mountain, 97 points. I had read great things about this. I just got 3 bottles of this delivered recently. Haven't even tried it yet, so I'm dying to try that one. So I was always happy when I look at these lists. I see really high scores, wines are up. I'm like, oh, wow. I think I own that wine and it's in my cellar. And especially when you combine them at a reasonably great price, which I did well below. The Saxum, I think, they're showing at 138. I probably paid a little more. But the passing time, no way, 110. But there's some great wines on here, sub $100 that are just, they've got a Sauvignon Blanc from New Zealand at $30. They've got a Syrah from France, 96 points for $42. That's just all in the top 10. I kind of perused the list. It's all over the map. I mean, they're number one wines at 179. And some of these are kind of out of control. But these are big point scoring, big wines for the most part. So I always like to see these lists. So check that out. And then over at Decanter, Chris Mercer is talking about how the UK's latest budget decision let alcohol duties rise with inflation, and it's going to push prices of wine even higher, reinforcing Britain's position as one of Europe's most expensive countries for wine. Basically, this survey is really interesting, and there's a graph in here that you really got to look at. But across Europe, the EU, countries have their own taxes on various things, separate and over and above from the EU tax and all those kind of things. And man, are the prices all over the map. So they're talking about the United Kingdom being one of the more expensive. So basically they have set a benchmark price for a bottle of wine, and they're using that kind of as what, like if a wine costs X number of dollars, what's it going to go one way? So France was mid at $6.10. Spain and Portugal were $4.36. This is based on this benchmark pricing. United Kingdom, $8, so almost double what you're going to get in Spain and Portugal. Iceland, $18.41. So man, do taxes matter? You definitely don't want to be a wine drinker in Iceland, Norway, Switzerland, Finland, Ireland, or Luxembourg, United Kingdom. UK kind of hits the midpoint there when you go through it all. But interesting article. A lot of new taxes over there affecting consumption, pricing, all those things across the board. So check it out. Worth looking at. All right. And wrapping up the news, one of the funniest stories. If you haven't read this has been out a little bit. I kind of been sitting on it waiting for some sort of closure, but as of this recording, there is still no closure. So referring to there's a lot of places to read about this story, but the Washington Post has one about the theft of $24,000 in wine and a high-speed chase and everything that went into this. But basically, a couple walked into a high-end restaurant and they wanted to go see the wine cellar, and they went into the wine cellar and they lifted about $38,000 worth of Romani Conti and all kinds of, and then, anyway, it's just crazy the amount of what happened here. But from the article, escorting the couple through his restaurant's high-end wine cellar, Christian Borle grew uneasy. The woman with her rapid-fire questions, the man with his long overcoat wandering in and out of view. As the three walked back upstairs, Borle couldn't shake the feeling. He raced back down and spotted them. Screw-top replacements where his finest wines had once been. The thieves' prize take, and until the past week, the wine cellar's prize occupant, a 2020 Romani Conti, valued by Borle at $24,000. Like all the stolen bottles, it came from the hallowed Domaine de la Romani Conti estate in Burgundy, the perfect Pinot Noir, he said. The guy gets in the cart, but they tackle the woman, and a few of the bottles are actually laying on the side of the road unbroken. The guy gets away in his car. They still haven't caught him. And he had the Romani Conti. So there you go. Always cool stuff going on. Always thefts and heists and all these things. So, Anyway, thought you'd enjoy that story. And with that, let's get to this week's wine and winery of the week. So we're going to talk about Belle Fiore Winery in Ashland, Oregon. This is in the Rogue Valley, pretty much right there on the border of Oregon and California. Irvine Roberts is up there. There's some other great wineries up in this region. I've got a bottle of their Montepulciano right here. It's a great wine. Cannot go wrong with it. Hey, we gave this place 5 stars. It has beautiful scenic views, as you can tell from the pictures. Reservations are not required, but if you want a private tasting, you'll need them. Seating is indoor and outdoor. Price range is $17 to like $29 for a tasting. They've got a $69 kind of special tasting that you can do. It's a nice place. I mean, it's one of those wineries you got to see. Just beautiful, opulent, Yeah, and they're making decent wines, which is also a good thing across the board. I mentioned this one, the Montepulciano, decent. I think we rated this 93, 94 points. This is the 2017. The wines are not all that pricey. We're checking out. So if you're up in Ashland area, the whole Rogue Valley, check that out. And I don't know if we've got like a Rogue Valley guide, but there are some great Airbnbs we reviewed and some other stuff up there. You can check that out as well. And then for our wine a week, kind of a budget pick here, the 2022 Cline Family Cellars Ancient Vine Zinfandel. It's from Contra Costa County. $22 is retail. You can find it for $15 at Total Wine. Old Zin vines, some of the vines are over 100 years old. We rated it 90 points. It's just decent. You can find it at restaurants. You can find it pretty much everywhere. I'm seeing this wine. So it's mass produced, but it's kind of coming from that Contra Costa County area, so they can pull all those vines in. Anyway, nice real wine at a decent price. Give it a shot if you can find it. And with that, we'll move on to our restaurant of the week. Right. We're going to go to Florence. Gucci Osteria de Massimo Bottura in Florence, Italy. Wonderful little place, kind of tucked away. Don't know. I think it's got a Michelin star, and I think they've licensed the Gucci name. There actually is a real tie in there with the Gucci family. They do a nice prefix meal. If you're in Florence, it's worth checking out. Our experience was a little muddled. There was 4 or 5 couples with maybe 10 children of theirs who had kind of taken over half the restaurant. And there wasn't a lot of monitoring of the children going on. So it made it a little bit rough as we, kind of sat there and tried to enjoy your fine Michelin star meal with its pairings and all as it went along. But I would give it another shot if I was back in Florence. So Gucci Osteria, blah, 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 da, da, da. You got it. And with that, we're going to wrap up this week's show. I want to thank everybody so much for stopping by and visiting us. We would love it if you would subscribe to us on YouTube, follow us on your favorite social media application, subscribe to us on your favorite podcast app as well. And be sure to check out the interview we did with Ian Cobble of The Cobbleist, his whole new wine club. That's down below. Until next week, everybody, cheers.